It's Amanda Zieba from Learning with the Word Nerd, and today I want to tell you about 20 different ways you can implement First Chapter Friday in your classroom. Now, when I am lesson planning, I love when I find something that I can plop in week after week, something that is effective, something that my students love, something that is easy to plan. Problem is, when you put something into your calendar week after week after week, it can sometimes get a little boring for your students. Even though it's amazing that they know the expectations and the structure, and we've trained them how to do the thing, it can get old after a time. So I've collected 20 different ways that you can shake up your First Chapter Friday to keep it fun, fresh, and exciting for your students without a whole lot of work for you. I know you're busy, so I'm going to go through these as fast as I can. Here we go. The first idea is a super simple one. All you need to do is click that little CC button at the bottom of the YouTube screen to turn on the closed captions. This will enable the closed captioning feature, which means that the words I'm saying out loud will show up on the screen. It's a sneaky way to get your students to read even when they don't think they are, and I guarantee that their eyes will be focused and paying attention way more than when the words are not there. I have another full video explaining this strategy in a little bit more depth, and I'll link that below in the description box. But the gist of the strategy is that while students are listening to something being read aloud, whether it's a novel, a video of a read aloud, you reading out loud, ask them to use Play-Doh to make a sculpture of something connected to the text. This is great for kinesthetic learners. They're thinking and processing what they're hearing and then putting it into a physical form. When the reading is done, ask them to explain what they made and why they made it to somebody near them or to the class as a whole. It's a great way to boost comprehension skills and keep people engaged and active without them even really knowing about it. And it brings out their inner child, and it's just kind of fun. So, highly recommend this one. Sometimes the simplest strategies are the best one, and the smallest changes can make the biggest difference. So all I needed to do for this implementation strategy is just turn off your lights or turn down the lights. Let students read by the light of their Chromebook, or maybe you have flashlights or glow sticks or something like that. Let them read in a cozier environment. It also kind of blocks out what everybody else is doing all around them and lets them just focus on their individual task. And I bet they'll have fun with it. I don't know about you, but I love coloring. It's like this amazing mindfulness little escape that I can do with staying exactly in the same spot that I am. So I've got sheets like this linked down there in the description box for you if you want reading themed ones for your students to color while they are reading, or just let them draw, or maybe find some other coloring sheets. They're everywhere these days, and let them color and kind of drift away and relax as they're listening to you read or to me read. It might seem strange, but sometimes the busier our brains are, the more we're able to focus. I have another full video explaining 7 different things you can do, exercises you can do while you're reading, things that are not too exerting, but also active enough to allow those of your busybodies or fidgeters to do something while they are reading and help them settle in and focus on the text. This one's plain and simple and will take you less than 30 seconds. Call 2 students up to the front of the classroom, have them do a rock, paper, scissors battle. Whoever wins gets to pick the First Chapter Friday read aloud for the week. My First Chapter Friday videos are especially great for distance learning days, whether it's weather or sickness or the water main breaks in your school. Heck, I know we've all been there. Just post the videos to your Google Classroom or whatever learning portal platform you use and ask students to maybe choose from a variety that you have posted, or you pick a specific one that you want them to listen to and then respond in any of a number of ways. They're still getting great quality literature that you have selected for them to read. They are listening, they are engaged, and they're not missing a beat. They are at home, they are distanced from you, they are still reading, and they are still learning. It has been proven time and again that student choice is a huge indicator of student interest and engagement. So pick a collection of titles based on a theme. Maybe you're going to have a whole bunch of books that are on the same or of the same genre or on their same topic. Maybe they all take place in the same setting, or they're all in the same format, like novels in verse or graphic novels. Maybe it's a collection of books all by the same author, or it's a character who's in a similar situation in all of the stories. Whatever it is, pick a thematic collection and then let students choose the one that they are most interested in reading. You're still guiding their selections by giving them quality stuff to pick from, and you're able to guide your lesson or your curriculum based on the type of collection you've chosen. After people listen and after they read, then they can get together and share what they've heard with somebody else and maybe book talk them and encourage them to read something as well. Audiobooks are one of my favorite things ever. I listen while I exercise, while I fold laundry, while I drive, while I get ready in the morning. It's an amazing way to experience a story. You can include that audio listening, auditory learners, and also your kinesthetic learners by allowing your students to walk with an audiobook, especially on those days of indoor recess or we're cooped up for the winter. Walk the halls, put your earbuds in, take some laps as a group, and let them experience the story in a new way. Or if it's nice out, head out to the track or into the gym and do some laps while you're listening to a story. Again, just a different way to shake it up and experience a great book. As much as grading can be a pain in the butt or we want to avoid it, sometimes we just have to put something in the grade book, or we need to hold students accountable for an activity. Maybe like if there's a sub there and we want to make sure they really did do something while we were gone. I have lots of student engagement worksheets. Again, I'll link everything down in the description box for you, for students to be able to learn about the book, learn about the author, see the reading level, and record their reaction. I have some generic sheets that can be used with any book. I also have some specific for every novel that is listed in my First Chapter Friday playlist on my channel, so you can pick. One of the great things about this is there are so many different ones to choose from. So even if you choose to do a worksheet every single Friday with the novels that you're choosing for First Chapter Friday, you can do it in a different way every time. Again, repetition is amazing because it's expected. Students know the structure and what is expected of them. However, doing the same thing over and over in the same exact way over and over can get boring. So I hope that the variety of worksheets I have for you will be enough to shake it up. And if you don't want to do a worksheet every time, that's fine. Strategy number 11 is very similar to the mindfulness coloring sheets, but instead of giving them something already designed on the page, you're going to ask them to be the designer. Ask your students to pretend that they are the illustrator or the graphic designer for the cover of the book that they are listening to. Ask them to pick out major story elements, listen to the title, the author name, and see what they would come up with if they were the designer of the book cover. After you're done listening, then you can always share those with each other. You could post or display them. You could compare it to the original cover. It'd be kind of fun if you didn't show them the cover of the book, maybe skip forward a little bit in the video past where I show them what it looks like, and then compare their versions with the real illustrators' versions after. You could have so many different ways to implement this, and it would be so fun to see what your students come up with. We touched on this one briefly a little bit already, but instead of everyone reading the same book and then talking about it, let your students choose from either any of the ones on my channel or from a small collection you have pulled, and then afterwards they can share with each other what they read and try to convince each other that they should read the book, or maybe like, don't waste your time, that one wasn't that great. That's fine too. We don't have to love everything that we read. You could also have them debate which was better, why, and then maybe the next week they listen to the one that their partner suggested or that somebody else in the class suggested. So I just think about when I read a book and I love it, and my favorite thing about reading a book and loving it is telling other people about it. This is how books like get legs and gain notoriety and become popular, is because people are talking about it. And if we want our students to love reading, we need to let them do the things that we love about reading in the real world. Talking about books is definitely one of those things. Embedded in many of my First Chapter Friday videos, I have mystery quotes. I pull out a quote that is interesting from the text. It's related most likely to the theme or a lesson that the characters learn in the story. And then I put it on the screen one word at a time, and I ask students to write that quote down as they're listening. It helps keep their eyes on the screen, keeps them focused on the story and engaged, not daydreaming, or as my son's teacher calls it, stargazing. It helps them stay connected to the story. Again, I have a full video explaining how this strategy works in detail. I'll link it in the description box, but mystery quotes are another fun way to shake things up with your First Chapter Fridays. One of the concerns that I often hear about First Chapter Fridays is teachers say, I don't have time. We can't listen to a 15 or a 28-minute video on Fridays in class. I have too many other things to cover. And I get it. I hear you. I know that that's a lot of time, but nothing says that you have to do it on Friday. And nothing says that you have to do the whole video in one class period. Spread it out. Start it on Monday and do a couple minutes every single day. And then by the end of the week, finish it up and talk about it and see what your students think. One of my favorite things on the planet is to talk with authors. I love to hear how they came up with the story, their writing process, what inspired them, what they were like as readers when they were kids. And many of my videos, I think like I'm up to 30 and counting, have chit chats with the authors after we read the first chapter. I work really hard to include questions that I think students will like and perhaps questions that the authors haven't been asked a lot before. So if you are wanting to incorporate some writing into your reading time, maybe you're an ELA teacher and you talk about both, these author interviews are an amazing way for you to be able to learn about the writing process, learn about the behind the scenes things of the books. And really, my most favorite part is that it shows students that authors are real people and that it's a real job. And if it's something that they're interested in, it is totally an option for their future. Strategy number 16 is using comfy spots. Now, I am totally guilty of scrolling through Pinterest and Instagram and being jealous of people's amazing classrooms, like the coffee house chat setups and the couches and the really expensive furniture and all the things. But here's the deal, you guys. It doesn't have to be fancy. And sometimes letting our students sit in a place that they feel comfortable rather than upright, rigid in a plastic chair at a wooden desk will increase the enjoyment of their reading. Think about where you read at home. Okay, I read in a big chaise lounge or I read on my front porch. Okay, I read places that are enjoyable. And simply feeling physically comfortable increases the enjoyment of my reading. That is true for all humans and especially of our students as well. So if you want to shake things up or you want to increase the enjoyment of First Chapter Friday for your students or any reading time for your students, let them choose where they want to sit. Maybe you've got some comfy chairs and you pick names for them or draw them out of a hat. Maybe like the teacher in this video or in this picture right here on screen, you just let them get creative and turn their chairs over and lean back against them. So strategy 16, comfy spots. Strategy 17 isn't a one and done. It's something you can do over a longer period of time. You could create a bigger board or use the one that I've created for you. I think it's in the 2022 First Chapter Friday set, definitely in the bundle. Again, I'll link everything for you, or you could just use your own, or create a tic-tac-toe board. So students are encouraged to try a variety of different First Chapter Fridays, and they feel a little bit of a sense of accomplishment when they get that tic-tac-toe or when they get that bingo. You can even motivate them further by providing prizes. So yeah, tic-tac-toe or bingo, something I would definitely try using. All right, we're getting down to the end here. Strategy number 18 is book battle. You can have your class listen to 2 different books, maybe one Friday, one another Friday, and then you can ask them which one was better. This is especially popular during March Madness. Teachers have brackets where they put all the titles in, and then students listen, and then they vote, and they get to see which one is the overall winner. Anytime you add in competition or you relate it to sports, people get excited. Maybe those reluctant readers who aren't invested before will find this kind of a format exciting for them. So set up a book battle. There's tons of different ways you can do it. But I think that it might hook a few more of those readers that have been sitting on the fringes and not that invested before. Another long-term implementation strategy is to use tracking sheets. Sometimes teachers will tell me, I do a First Chapter Friday video and I have like 3 copies of the book and then they go away and then students forget which books they're excited and interested in. So if students record the titles that they've listened to and note which ones they're excited to try, even if the teacher runs out of copies, they can use their tracking sheet like a shopping list when they go to the library or when they check out your classroom library, or maybe like when the book fair comes to town or they make their birthday or holiday shopping lists. They can use these because they'll remember what they've read and what they liked and want to check out again. All right, we've made it to number 20, the final strategy on the list, and this is something that I do for you. I will give students, classrooms, teachers, schools shout outs in the beginning of my First Chapter Friday videos. It's kind of a cool way for students to know that I know they're listening and to feel involved in the process, and they get really excited about it. If you want to sign up for one of these, the best way is to be on my teacher email newsletter list. I will share links with people when I'm looking for new classrooms to shout out, and it could be a super fun way to get your students excited about listening to First Chapter Fridays and about reading, which is, after all, the whole point. Alrighty, word nerds, that's it. I hope you found these strategies exciting and interesting and that they'll be a great fit for your classroom. You can use them with any of the First Chapter Friday videos I have on my channel. I'm up to over 135 and adding more weekly. Thanks so much for visiting my channel, Learning with a Word Nerd. I hope you'll subscribe, like this video, and come back again for more great content. I'll see you again next time. Happy reading.